So, welcome to this first in the series on the road to the 6-scale Snowspeeder that has been so much requested, and it's been on my personal wish list for a long time, so I'm very happy with that. So, it always starts with a lot of research, finding as many official sources as possible. Now, luckily, we found that there were blueprints in the official blueprints book. Unfortunately, they are unusable. As you can see, it's too short and stumpy, and the sizes are off completely. They claim a wingspan of 3.8 meters, which is nowhere near what it actually was, which was over 5 meters. But this picture from the RPF of the full-scale build that they did at TX Armory really illustrates beautifully the big problem. And that is something we run into a lot, and that is that for movie vehicles, reality is not really important. And for the Snowspeeder, there was never anything that actually fit pilots. The legend goes actually that there's a frame somewhere in Empire Strikes Back where you can see Mark Hamill's shoes or legs when he gets into the Snowspeeder, so the full-scale cockpit wasn't suitable to hold the legs of the actors. Here you see from the Star Wars Identities the model they used, and as you can see, the figure in there is much too large. Again, according to my sources, these figures just had the legs cut off, and they're not the same scale as the actual Snowspeeder model they did for filming. So you can really see how large the head and the helmet is when you compare it to a screenshot I took off the internet from the movie. Compare that to the images I showed you of the Star Wars Identities one. Even this big fella looks a lot smaller. So on another thread on the RPF forum, you can see that people had to take off parts of the butt as well as the feet and the lower legs to get pilots to fit in a Snowspeeder. Another source told me that the Snowspeeder they built for the hangar scenes in Hoth was actually around 75 to 80% of normal size, and you can see that if you look at the person standing next to it. Never would two people be able to fit inside that cockpit. Just to save on cost and get a feeling of a bigger hangar with more vehicles in there, apparently is the reason they built them at 75 to 80% of scale. So after a lot of research and thanks to images from like the Star Wars Identities exhibition, pictures I found online of the actual model that was used during production, one of the several ones, we were able to get a lot of measurements. And as always, thanks to the fact that we have the jazzing community, and we do this as a community, this time the team consisting of Alfredo Callas, Jared Bennell, Lawrence Reynolds, Barry McCrae Murray, Aski Kath, and Vijay Ramanath, we were able to get a lot of sources, a lot of reference materials, and a lot of measurements. The Master Replicas one, the Star Wars Identities one, other sources that were very close to the movie, the Bandai 48th scale, which gave us a lot of useful measurements, but none of them were exactly right, and we always went back to the studio model for the correct ratios, the correct angles, and there was not a single one that is completely accurate. So that's the good news for you. If you buy this 6-scale model, you know you will be as close to the studio model as possible, and it's idealized in the way that it's slightly larger so that it actually fits 6-scale figures without having to modify it, while still retaining all the ratios, all the detailing, and all the angles and all the other stuff that many of the others got wrong. So this is where we are right now, and of course always feel free to check our work and correct where necessary. Of course I always work in the metric system, but we're talking about a length of 37.25 inches from the tip of the blaster to the back of the engine, and a width of about 33.75 inches in terms of wingspan. So for this one, we're of course looking to get a completely detailed cockpit, maybe even light up features. A flight stand would be very cool, and I want to have some of the panels removable to get that cool partially demolished look that I'll overlay a picture here again of the stuff that I really like. So as you can see, design has started very early draft, still working on a lot of the detailing and panel lines and the way that it's the smart to construct this, produce this, and make it come together. So we've got a lot of reference material, most of which I can't show, even of the interior. But anything you have, especially of the interior, that would be great. And well, pre-orders have opened, so I hope for your support as always. And until next time.